Hello, I'm Isaac Keith Martinez, and welcome to Isaac's Haunted Bed. The other day, I was visiting my grandparents. I was sitting there having a cup of tea with my grandma, and I asked her, "Hey Grandma, how you doing?" "Well, I'm doing okay, thanks for asking, but you must know, your grandfather's driving me crazy." "Well, Grandma, doesn't he always drive you crazy?" "Well, yes, he always drives me a little crazy, but lately he's been driving me a lot crazy, if you must know the truth." "Well, why has he been driving you crazy? What's he been doing that's been driving you so crazy, Grandma?" "Well, he's been on a kick lately with Western films. He's been watching a lot of cowboy pictures, and I must be honest with you, I don't really like the cowboy movies so much. They're starting to get boring, and I'm just sick of them. I ask him, why does it always have to be a cowboy movie? Maybe we can watch a good old-fashioned horror picture like your grandson's always talking about on the YouTubes." And I said, does that work for you?" He said, no. He's always like, "I'm sick of the horrors. I want to watch some cowboys." So, the fact is, he goes to sleep a lot earlier than I do, and I always stay up a little bit later and watch a good old-fashioned horror picture. In fact, I was hoping that perhaps you could recommend something for me. Do you have something in mind? I go, "Well, what are you in the mood for?" "Well, I love monsters just like you do, so maybe something with monsters in it, particularly gross monsters would be awesome. I'd love some gross monsters." I said, "Gross monsters? Gross as in ugly and spooky and scary and maybe like slimy, or..." "No, not so much the way they look. They all look adorable to me. I don't care how gross they look. They look adorable. I love them. I just want to pinch their little cheeks and their little fangs and give them a little kiss and send them home to their mothers with a stomach full of apple pie." I was thinking more like gross, like they do gross things, I love the gross stuff. I don't know why. It's always tickled me. I go, "Oh, well, tell you what, Grandma. You know that I have seen a lot of horror films, and I could take suggestions. You could tell me what you're looking for, and perhaps if you tell me what you're looking for in a movie, I can steer you in the right direction." "Well, that sounds lovely." "Okay, how about this? Give me 3 examples of something that you would love to see monsters do in a horror film that's gross, and I'll think of a movie or like a franchise that come close. So go for it. What have you always wanted to see a monster do that you've never seen a monster do in a horror film yet?" Well, it's funny you should ask that, because I was just thinking this the other day. How come monsters in the movies, they never seem to fart? Fart? You heard me. How come they never seem to let one go, let one rip? I mean, they're eating all these people. They're munching on their faces and their stomachs, and they got the blood on the teeth, and they've always, they're ripping the heads off, and they're chomping and they're chewing, and they must be digesting. Don't you think they must let one go every once in a while? I bet the monster farts are just awful. I bet they're much worse than your grandpa's ones. Well, maybe not as much as your grandpa's one, but I'd like to see a monster fart. Just once, at least once in a movie. Okay, that's pretty gross. What else would you like to see a monster do in a movie? Well, let's see. I've seen monsters eat people. I've seen them eat men. I've seen them eat women. I've seen them eat old people and young people. And I've seen them eat animals. I've seen them eat just about everything. You know what I haven't seen? Grandma has never seen a monster eat a baby. Did you just say what I thought you said? What's that, dear? That you want to see a monster eat a baby? Yes, that's right. I'd love to see a monster eat a baby. Have you ever been in a movie theater and somebody brings the baby and the baby starts crying and you're just like, "Oh, I just wish a monster would eat him up." I'd like to see that. Okay, monster eat a baby. Got it. So number 1, you want to see a monster fart. Number 2, you want to see a monster eat a baby. That's correct. A monster fart and a monster eat a baby. Okay. Give me one more thing. What would you like to see a monster do that you've never seen a monster do before? I'd like to see a monster have sex with a cat. You'd like to see a monster have sex with a cat. Is that correct? That's correct. A monster having sex with a cat. I've seen a lot of movies I've been seeing pictures ever since they started making them. And I've seen a lot of, carnal scenes. And I've seen monsters do some really horrific things to people, like I mentioned. And sometimes they even get fresh with some of the people. But I've never seen them so much get fresh with the animals. And you know what? The other night I was trying to go to sleep and I heard these cats. They were making love outside my window, and it was the most god-awful sound. I couldn't fall asleep. I just wanted to just go, oh, shut up, you cats, I'm trying to sleep. And I just pictured, what if a monster came in there and just grabbed one of them and just had their way with them? I'd love to see that. That would teach them a lesson. So you want to see a monster fart, you want to see a monster eat a baby, and you want to see a monster have sex with a cat. That's correct. A monster fart, a monster eat a baby, and a monster have sex with a cat. What movie, or movies, would come close to that? Feast. Feast 2. Sloppy Seconds. Feast 3. The Happy Finish. The Feast Trilogy is available on digital, versatile disc. Grandma, I'm going to lend these to you, and you are going to have the time of your life, because these movies have scenes that feature all kind of wackiness. They feature a monster farting, they feature a monster eating a baby, and they feature a scene where a monster has sex with a cat. And you want to know what? It doesn't end there, Grandma. They feature a lot of things that monsters do. They even feature a lot of movie stars in these movies. And, well, I wouldn't say movie stars, but like horror movie stars. Like who, for instance? Well, for instance, this trilogy features a certain Clu Gulager. Clu Gulager! Don't get me started on Mr. Gulager! Grandma, I didn't know you know the name. Of course I know the name. Your grandma's not, mental. I know these things. In fact, I've always thought that Mr. Gulager was handsome, and I've always loved his name, Gulager. I've always kind of wished that instead of marrying your grandfather, that I marry Clu Gulager. Why would you want to marry Clu Gulager? Well, I just love his name, Gulager. It just sounds so special. I think that it commands respect. Like, for instance, if I was Mrs. Gulager, can you imagine? Like, if I went to the doctors to, pick up my prescriptions, and they come out and they say, Mrs. Gulager, your prescriptions are ready. Your lotions and your ointments and your heart medicines. You can come pick them up, Mrs. Gulager. Just sign here. Okay. That's awesome. I didn't know. That's awesome. I won't tell Grandpa. And, Clu Gulager's in these films. That's terrific. Don't tell your grandfather about these movies, because I'm sick of his whole thing with the cowboy pictures. I'm going to watch them after they go to bed. Just at that moment, my grandfather walked into the room. What are you two talking about? I can hear you in the other room. I'm trying to watch my cowboy pictures, and I hear something about the Clu Guligers and the cats being defiled by the monsters and all kinds of babies and farts and all kinds of stuff. What the heck are you guys talking about? I said, Grandpa, you caught us. I was giving Grandma some suggestions on movies that feature some monsters doing some pretty horrible, wonderful, terrific, gross things, like Feast 2, and Feast 3. I'm sick of the monster pictures. I've seen too many of them. I don't want to watch them. She's going to have to watch them when I go to sleep. I want to watch the cowboy movies. You're always watching the cowboy movies. Why can't we watch something different? Well, this one's different. This one's got the Clint Eastwood in it. They all have Clint Eastwood in them. That's not true, woman. Some of them have John Wayne in them. Clint Eastwood, John Wayne. What's the difference? Bite your filthy tongue, woman! Subscribe to Isaac's Haunted Beard on YouTube. Like us on Facebook and follow Isaac's Haunted Bee on Twitter. Thank you.